On the Wake Up Radio presents The Center with your host, DC Radical One.
Greetings, Black family, and welcome to On the Wake Up Radio. I am your host, DC Radical One, and you have entered the center. Shout out to our wonderful producer, Cindy Ashby. You can check us out on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and also at onthewakeupradio.com and otwtube.com. That is otwtube.com. BB for ODA to Sister Vanessa, Straight Black Pride to Brother Elijah. Greetings to our wonderful producer, Cindy Ashby. Greetings to Lord Vale, a BB for Hodier, and Straight Black Pride to a BB for Hodier, man. Peace and Black Power to Brother Patrick. And let's see, and Straight Black Pride to Brother Kevin. Oh, and greetings to Unique One Express. I think that I have everybody so far. I don't think that I missed anyone. And again, thank you all to everyone that listened to last night's broadcast, last night's episode. I thought it was a real interesting show. Whenever you deal with male-female, the male-female dynamic in the black community is always going to be a lively discussion, and it's always going to be thought-provoking, and always going to be something that, at times, partially could be somewhat controversial, I'm sure. And so, again, I thank you all for listening to that. And if you didn't get a chance to listen, you can go back and listen after you finish listening to today's show. Also, I want to thank, I want to thank Brother Dawood for donating via the Cash App. Also, BB48 man, and Black Magus, and of course, I don't see the brother here, but Brother Desaline as well. So much appreciation to those brothers. I am expecting, and I said it yesterday, and I'm still expecting it, a new microphone stand and microphone. Supposed to be here yesterday, but I just assumed that it'll be here tomorrow. With that being said, today's topic is Lil Nas X wants to take your children to hell. So, because of course the rapper known as Lil Nas X released a video, I guess it's been nearly 2 weeks ago now, that went viral. I don't have to show the video, and I won't, because one, copyright reasons, and two, it makes my stomach hurt just looking at it. But I'm sure we all have at least seen some clips of the video. And the thing that's interesting about it is not the video, nor the shoes, or any of the other things that people were talking about. The thing that grabbed my attention, and why I named the show what I named the show, was the fact that Lil Nas X said that his core audience is children. Now, when he initially came out with the song, I believe it's Old Town Country Road or something to that effect, I remember seeing the song. I never actually saw that whole video, as big as the song was. And it kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it struck me as odd, and I should have known, knowing what I know about the music industry and how things are. It struck me as odd that a young black male rapper could have the number one country song in America. I'm gonna say that again. A young black male rapper had the number one country song in America. And I didn't know that he was not signed to, he signed a major label deal after that. I literally just found out a few minutes ago. And so one thing we understand about media, we understand about propaganda, we understand about the music industry, and we understand the hats. The chances of a person randomly having the number one, first of all, the chance of a black person having the number one country song in and of itself, I don't even think I have to go into it. The chances of someone who is completely unknown coming out and organically having the number one song in America in this day and time where things go viral and whatnot, but things don't go viral to the point of being ubiquitous without push, contrary to popular belief. It's very rare that things, or that artists, especially musical artists, things like that, it's very rare that they go viral organically without push from major media. I mean, and I remember I was talking to a sister, and she was saying, we were talking about him, and I was saying what the subject of the show would be, and she was saying, yeah, I've never actually heard anybody talk about how talented he is. Like, no one has said, like, wow, he's so talented. And when she said that, it made me pause and think, you have a point. Straight Black Pride, Sister Simba. When she said that, I paused and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, you're right. No one says that. No one says, wow, this guy is amazing musical talent, or wow, this guy is an amazing dancer, like when Chris Brown was young, people compared his dancing to Michael Jackson. I remember that. No one compares Lil Nas X lyrical ability to Nasir Jones or Christopher Wallace or Sean Carter. I haven't heard those comparisons. And as far as I know, he doesn't make his own beats, so he's not some type of super producer. In fact, I saw something that said he bought the Old Town Country Road beat for $30. So when you look at all those things, you look at the reason that he has gained notoriety has largely been, outside of his initial song, has largely been because of his flamboyant dress, and his open homosexuality, and now the controversy around the imagery of his latest video, Montero. Then now you get to see that there's someone pulling strings behind the scenes. And Lord Vale says that Lil Nas X said on Twitter that he was an industry plant. That is interesting. That is interesting. And it's kind of hard to know with people. They may be saying things. He may be saying what people are thinking in order to, what they call it, in order to get out in front of the story, so to speak. But either way, we've seen his behavior. We've seen him dressed up like Nicki Minaj. Excuse me. And I talked about that I talked about that in a previous show. Yeah, this is actually the second time I talked about this guy. Yeah. Anyway, but with all that being said, I'm gonna be completely honest. I would not be talking about him today, even with all the controversy. And I'm late with it because last week was probably the time to talk about it. But I would not be talking about it until I believe it was a BB48, man. I'm not sure, but somebody sent me an article that said that he said that his core audience is children. And then I found out he had a children's book. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, we have a problem. I had no idea that this Old Town Country Road song was popular amongst young people. I was not paying attention. And so I completely missed this aspect of his popularity. And I should know by now that anything that we see, anything that's put in front of us, and especially anything that's put in front of our young people, there's an ulterior motive. So I want to look at this article real quick that deals with the release of his children's book, which was done earlier this year. And this says, Lil Nas X says that children are his core audience right now. And then the article says, and that's okay. Right? So they're saying that they don't have a problem with that. But for people, especially parents, after seeing his video, who would want to have their children model themselves after this individual? So I'm gonna read the article real quick. It says Lil Nas X, the Grammy winner behind Old Town Road, has written and released his first children's book, C is for Country. A little boy decked out in a pink rhinestone cowboy outfit travels around a farm and points out things that bring him joy. A is for adventure. Every day is a brand new start. B is for boots, whether they're big or small, short or tall. C is for country, the story goes. This is the basic premise of the new kids' book, C is for Country, written by Lil Nas X, the Grammy-winning, chart-dominating rapper behind Old Town Road. As a storybook version of Lil Nas X shows readers around the farm, he gets to F, which is for fringe, feathers, and fake fur. He says, I love that for me. Then it says, this type of be yourself messaging is common in children's books. The real Lil Nas X ran into it all the time growing up, except he says it never felt totally genuine to him. It was never truly enforced. It was kind of like do what you want, be who you want, but be who I want you to be. Reaching kids on their level has been a big part of the public persona of Lil Nas X in the past year. Last spring, he did an appearance on the Not Too Late show, singing the theme along with his host Elmo. Leading into the holidays, he did a virtual performance on the online video game platform Roblox, reminiscent of the Travis Scott Fortnite concert in April. But Roblox has a huge younger audience. The company says over one half of its users are under 13. And the Lil Nas X concert alone drew in over 30 million visits. Lil Nas X says his nieces and nephews, to whom his book is dedicated, guide his thought process when he's thinking about relating to children, right? Relating to children. When Roblox approached him to do the virtual concert, he wasn't fully on board until he went to his sister's house and his nephew coincidentally asked him about the game. And then, boom, I just decided to do it. It says marketing to kids directly makes perfect sense when you look at exactly how huge Old Town Road was with the elementary school set. Lil Nas X catered to and resonated with that younger demographic, says Dan Runcie, the founder of Trapital, a media company and newspaper focused on business and hip hop. Runcie points to a surprise show Lil Nas X did at Lander Elementary School in Ohio in 2019. In footage from that day, the rapper enters a gym full of children who start screaming at the top of their lungs. Some grasp their heads in disbelief. Others just jump up and down. Some are so overwhelmed they just stand there, slack jaw. And while it is rare to see one of the biggest hip hop, pop, country crossover acts perform in an elementary school gym, Runcie says that going after kids is a way towards longevity, especially if you're the only one in your lane who's doing it. Because no one else is necessarily your main competition that's also competing for that from a hip hop perspective, you stand a better chance. Okay, we're going to stop right there with this article. Literally, BB40, Brother Desaline, and greetings to Tila Nubia. Literally, this article states that not only is he going after and targeting children, but he has no competition for the minds of our children within that arena. So there's no counterbalance, there's no counterweight to what he's doing. The article says that's his own lane. So the own lane of into the minds of children is a male who gyrates in the lap of Satan. I just want us to process what I am saying here. What's funny is I didn't read the whole article before I pulled it up. And then reading it through, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is much worse than I thought. Taylor Nubia says, yes, his gateway song, Old Town Road, has very explicit lyrics. So not sure why the song is popular among children. And, someone else, now actually he said that. Someone responded to him. And on Twitter, he said that he was speaking about something. I can't remember exactly. And I couldn't find it before I came on. And he basically was like, it's your fault you let children listen to the song because I was talking about X, Y, and Z. And I'm thinking to myself, most parents probably never heard the explicit version of the song if things are how they used to be. And so they have no idea. And they're probably playing this thing at schools and, we have no idea. And again, it was the biggest song in the country, right? And so here we are now. And then the sister says his latest project is a test run to see how far they can come and how far they can go, right? And so I have seen a little backlash, but not a whole lot. But I'm going to show this video so we can see the response of the children to Lil Nas X, and we can actually see how they respond to him and his popularity amongst the young people.
I'm finna do the biggest show of my life, and it's gonna be great.
You gonna surprise some kids?
Yeah, maybe,
Say that.
possibly.
Say no more. I have to keep this rolling.
I'll just follow behind you guys. We're going out now.
No, 30 seconds.
Oh, that's very precise. Hope I don't run out of space.
Do you get nervous before performances?
No, don't worry.
All right, we're green.
We going right now?
Yep. Speedy,
Here we go. What do you tell them?
I told this is my final magic trick. I can hear it. Try.
All I wanted to show was the children's reaction to him. Literally, right? If you're old enough to remember, the children reacted to him the way people used to react to Michael Jackson in his heyday. Children are jumping up and down. Children are crying. Only thing I didn't see is any children passing out. And these are elementary school. These are the babies. These are little babies. This look like first, second, third graders at the most. And they know the song. They're yelling Old Town Road. Now that clip is from, I believe, 2019. So they're yelling Old Town Road, right? They know the song. They probably know all the words. They probably all know all the words of the explicit version. And so this same person that did this 2 years ago, that all the children know, and then wrote the children's book this year, those children that were 6 are now be 8, 7, 9. Do the math. They're going to be looking for his Montero video. And when they look for his Montero video, we know the type of stuff that they're going to see. What they're going to see is not the Old Town Country Road stuff. They're going to see what we have here. They're going to see him twerking on Satan. And I know I missed a couple of people. Okay. Sister Taylor Nubia said that scene right there is why children should be outraged. Peace to Brother Allen. And Patrick Pillard said, why is he even called Nas? Okay, brother Patrick, that is an interesting story, and that the whole thing about that is interesting. Now, y'all remember I talked about it before, and I was like, I don't know why Nas would allow this guy to take his name. Lil Nas Nasir Jones just won his first Grammy for his 13th album after co-signing Lil Nas X. I'm just saying that after accepting Lil Nas X, suddenly he wins Best Rap Album in 2021 for his 13th album, which no one will mistake for his best work. I'm just saying. Right? Now, according to him, because his birth name is Montero, and according to him, his mother named him after the vehicle that she couldn't afford. And what's interesting about it is, a weird coincidence or whatever. If you listen to Nas's song, The World Is Yours, he talks about 2 or 3 different cars, one of them being a Montero Jeep. So his mother was a Nas fan. Somehow he grew up listening to Nas, but this is what we get. Twerking on Satan. Now we have to understand that those 6-year-olds, because they're now 8 and they probably have phones, have without question seen this video. Because he said his core, what did the article say? The article said that his core audience is children. He's the only one in hip hop in that lane, and it ensures his longevity, right? Because of that, which means they will literally grow up listening to his music and following behind him every step of the way. Which is why this the title of this discussion is Lil Nas X wants to take your children to hell. Because in the video, right, he's twerking on Satan. And again, I'm not a religious person, but I'm sure the vast majority of those people that we saw, those children that we saw, those parents, teachers, and all that, I'm sure all of them, or the vast majority of them, I can't guarantee all of them. Let me retract that statement. The vast majority of them are Christians. Right? They introduced their students and whatnot to an artist who used satanic imagery to push his career further, and also to influence the minds of children. And if you ever seen Brother Genie's lecture, he talks about the Satanist concept is to do whatever you want, which automatically leads us to what? It leads us down the road to pedophilia. Because if a grown man who likes little boys does whatever he wants, what does he want? I believe the concept, the actual term is "do what thou will," and we've accepted. Now this is the Satanist concept, and we've accepted that concept because how many times, like people in the hood used to say, "Do you, man," which is antithetical to African thinking. You can't do you because we're all connected. The African concept is I am because we are. Ubuntu is the African concept. the satanic or European concept is you do you and I'm gonna do me, which by definition is at some point going to cause conflict. And a BB48 man says, and black parents allowed their children to be present for this assembly. Exactly. And also, how can you be country and not be a Christian? And yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, there it is. And you got ripped off says, sign the petition. There's a change.org petition. I should have brought that up. All people who are against Satanism being pushed on children. Lil Nas X sponsors Satanism. Go to change.org. And you got ripped off. Remind me to put that in the description. I'll put that in the description. So people can, when they see the video, they can just, the link will be there. But, so they, again, admitted there's a long-term strategy by this artist to capture the minds of not just black children. This is the thing. Not just black children in this case. But we are, of course, you know, whenever something bad happens, we first in line. But all children around America. And Taylor Nubia said, okay, she give me a quote from the song. Is this the Old Town Country Road? Old Town Road or whatever it is. That song, I think, okay, it says, I don't want to F the ones like me, but the ones that envy. So what is he saying and who is he talking about? Sounds, for me, statement sounds like an assault. Hey, I don't know. And the bad part is now I actually have to go back and actually listen to his music and see what are the underlying things that are being said that I haven't listened to because I think his music stinks. And BB48 man says, Aleister Crowley, a premier occultist, popularized the do as thou wilt ethic. Right. Which is the current environment that we're in. Like, no one can tell anyone not to do anything ever without everyone seemingly getting offended. Even what you're telling the person is to benefit them. And so since no one can correct anyone, that means everyone can do anything. But then people get outraged when people do things that people don't like, but you just told everyone that they can do whatever they want. It's not even a slippery slope at this point. We're just falling down the hill and rolling, doing forward rolls and hitting our heads on rocks. Like, this is a direct assault on children from an admitted homosexual, right? And if I'm not mistaken, and if I thought I had that pulled up, but somebody told me that he had a ghost Twitter account that people traced to him, talking about being sexually attracted to one of his nephews. Now, if I'm wrong in that, I'll retract it. But somebody, you know what? Let me try to find it. Someone sent that to my phone, and if the person that sent that to my phone is in the chat, let me know that you're in the chat and I'm not making things up. Because I hate issuing retractions, but it doesn't mean that I won't. But I know someone sent that to me, and I was taken aback in the least. But I'm not surprised. And I think a BB48 man, did you tell me that someone told me that he admitted to have been sexually abused? Which, if you're familiar with Brother Genie's work, you're not shocked. Sister Taylor Nubia says he makes a video getting down with the devil, but sports the cross. Understand the cross means nothing to me, but for the religious people means the world, and feels like it's there, a connection to their God. Indeed. And Brother Allen says, destruction of the black family is American as apple pie. Pedophiles licking their chops right now. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, and all of this comes, right on the heels, or right in the same time frame of Mr. Biden, what was it, the 31st? Declaring the 31st, transgender rights day, or transgender visibility day, or whatever it was. So we can't, there's no debate. And we've seen pictures of Lil Nas X with synthetic breasts and dressed up like, I put the pictures up before, other video, dressed up like Nicki Minaj. Completely in complete drag. Almost unrecognizable. But at the time when I talked about that as an attack on black masculinity, I had no idea that his target audience was children. And so here we are with this person, with these images that we see on the screen, marketing his entire career to children. So right now, people have to understand the attack that's going on. And BB48 man says looking for the interview now. Also, he had two burner Twitter accounts. One which he was savagely attacking Blue Ivy. Blue Ivy, that's the Carter's daughter, right? The Sean Carter and Beyonce, that's their daughter, Blue Ivy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes sometimes I get confused. You got ripped off. Says makes me wonder if the video was done before the breast implants and specifically held till March. That never occurred to me, brother. I don't know. Yeah, that never even occurred to me. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Cause I didn't think that he got implants. I thought that was something on the exterior that he could put on and take off. Like what was his name? What was that? What was that Uruguay's name? Marilyn Manson. He did that years ago. I guess he had implants, or what, I don't, start me to lying what was really going on. But yeah, that's goodness. So if the implants, I didn't even think about. So if he got actual implants, then he is going to eventually then talk about transitioning, and he's going to be a representative of that to children that listen to Old Town Country Road. Wow, brother. Goodness. Just talking about this is making my head hurt. And I came in with a lot of energy today. I was feeling good before. The more I think about it, the worse this gets. And I don't think that most people are really connect. I don't, because when you're not really paying attention to something, it's easy for you to not connect the children's book, that Old Town Road song, and this Montero video. You can miss that if you're not paying attention. And a BB48 man says, I believe the breast implants were an external cosmetic prosthetic. Movie quality stuff. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I didn't know. That's what I was thinking. And so, I mean, it always astounds me, really, when you can just literally just look up an article or look up a video, and people literally tell you their plans to attack children or to destroy black people or whatever the case may be. It's just, it's just insane. And Lord Bell says Lil Nas X is seeing how far he can go. Right. But the difference between Lil Nas X, at least I think, the difference between Lil Nas X and 6ix9ine, that guy who literally looked like a clown, I still don't understand that, but I'm not the target audience. The difference is, I think Lil Nas X was specifically, his career specifically guided to push an agenda to our children. And I don't think 6ix9ine career was guided like that. I don't think. Now, I could be wrong, to be honest, but I don't think that was the case. And sister says, you can talk about all the politicians in the world. This tactic will never penetrate our people for various reasons, mostly because of their evil. The evil with their agenda. You talking about as far as the petition? Yeah, I mean the best way to attack that was economically, and we saw the backlash. We saw that when the backlash came, the Nike Corporation made sure to set themselves apart from that, and they're currently suing the company that I had never heard of. I guess the name of the company is Mischief. They doesn't have any vowels in the word, in the company name, I mean. So Nike saw the possible economic impact, and they spun away from that immediately. Let's see. And Brother Desaline says, time for us to separate and start a straight black pride church of sorts. Just because we know we're in boiling water doesn't mean they won't cook us too. Yeah, brother. You've been saying that for a while. You've been saying that for a couple of years now. I'm not gonna put up any argument. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna put up any argument. I need to come up there and holler at you and see what your plan is and see if we can get it in effect. To be completely honest. And the sister says this is an all-out assault on our youth, without question. And the part that was shocking to me was it wasn't teenagers. Like we've all, I don't care how old you are, if you live in America, you grew up and listened to some inappropriate music, unless you're, I guess, maybe in your 60s. But anytime after that, you listen to some inappropriate music as a child. But this is a different level, even from what we were thinking. It says Magazine says some of his lyrics say, "We stand there in defiance. We the makers. We the groundbreakers. We the creators, the screamers and dreamers." Sounds like the gay rights platform. Hey, I always say you advocate for who you are and who you relate to. You know, the homosexual community have backed him completely because he represents them. Even though he had the video, and I was going to show the little clip, but one, the clip was so short, and then two, it was nothing but profanity. But he had a clip where he claimed not to be a homosexual. Now, from my position, there is nothing more homosexual than wearing hooker boots and gyrating in the lap of another man. There's just no way to be straight and to even think about doing something like that. But I mean, that, you know, he denied it in the video for whatever reason. But I don't think anybody with two eyes, and certainly no people with their third eye open, you know, believe that. And weirdly enough, speaking of your third eye open, if you go back to that Montero video, did anybody catch the symbolism of the alien that he was kissing having its third eye open, thereby showing symbolically that in order to have your third eye open, you have to be open to homosexuality? That was a subliminal, but it was, to me, it was obvious. But I haven't heard anybody else talk about that. Did anybody else catch that? Or y'all think I'm reaching? And what's interesting, I only watched that video once. And I caught that immediately. And a wonderful producer says, doesn't 6ix9ine have pedophile charges for posting sexually graphic pictures of a girl under 18? I do not exactly know, but I wouldn't be surprised. And Brother Allen says, yes, he's a whole pedophile. Okay. But, you know, which, that whole, we talked about this before, but it's kind of hard to not talk about it again. The entire spectrum of artists, for the most part, across, but especially within what is called hip hop now, is replete with homosexuals. And you can watch, there are so many clips now where older hip hop artists talk about going to parties and going to different events and seeing all types of stuff. I believe it was Inspector Deck, and I believe it was Inspector Deck was talking. I think Ghostface was with him. They said they were at an industry party, and they were at this mansion, you know, what they call a mansion party, and they go, you know, they looking in different rooms, seeing what's going on, see if they know any people, you know, that people up, hang out, you know, party, drink, whatever. And he said they opened the door, and there were a bunch of dudes in there, and that's all was in there, was a bunch of dudes. And he said they looked and they kind of froze, and when they froze, some of the dudes saw them, but they didn't stop. And then they said they closed the door and left the party. So we don't have to, you know, we don't have to guess or say that I'm making up stuff, because people in the industry are saying it. What is it? Oh, man, what is his name? I can't even think of it. Exhibit was talking about hanging out with Puffy and, you know, going to some party at somebody's house and opening doors. Like, whoop, my bad. It was like literally the same story from two different people for two different parties, like two totally different events, like, and two different interviews that had nothing to do with each other. So it goes without saying. The brother said I refuse. Brother Desolate said I refuse to watch the video, bro, so I can't speak on it. That image I saw from it said everything. Thanks for doing the dirty work for me. Hey, brother, yeah. I mean, you know, when you do this work, you just kind of, sometimes you just gotta hold the L, because sometimes you find stuff and you're like, man, I didn't want to see that. But that thing went viral. Like, I think there were like over 1 million views when I saw it, and I was like, it had only been out like 3 or 4 days, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. But it was something that was so, that some people would see as so heinous and other people would see as quote unquote groundbreaking, that everybody that saw it, the people that liked it and people that hated it, all had to see it. And the brother says, you're spot on, gay is the new woke. Right. You know, when people talk about woke, that's all they're talking about is supporting LGBT. Sister Tila Nubia says, I caught it. I thought it was the way of mocking the conscious community in the same manner they are attacking the Christian church. They are taking away people from their moral compass. Indeed, it was both. It was that and signaling, you know, that you can't, because I've talked about this previously. I know people. I was at some type of conference. Like, I can't remember, but I was at a conference. I think it was like when, who was it? Like the United Nations or some big body had a conference, and I was there, and I was talking to a brother, right? And he was saying that he was talking to a sister. Now this probably been 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. And he was saying he was talking to a sister. He worked up at Howard, and he was saying that a sister was saying to him that he can't be revolutionary because he doesn't support LGBT. Again, this was 5 years ago, right? And her talking point was that he can't be revolutionary because he doesn't support LGBT. Not now, he's black, she's black, everybody that's black, always the discussion on being revolutionary was about being black and supporting black and black rights and doing whatever it took for black people to have rights. That's always been the criterion and discussion on what revolutionary was. And she's telling him, a grown man, that he's not a revolutionary because he doesn't support LGBT. And again, that discussion was years ago. And we have here in DC literally run into roadblocks with institutions, businesses that are run by black people who we have seen previously or thought were pro-black, and they had, in essence, had the same stance and didn't want us in their institution because of our stance, our firm stance on black man, black woman, black child. And they're asking us, why are we bothering these people? Meanwhile, this guy is making videos showing your children that twerking on Satan is the thing to do. So here we are. And Magazil says the video was done last year. Comment from an article, Call Me By Your Name, was teased for the first time last year, but the release date was yet to be confirmed. Okay. So either way, this was planned in advance. Desaline asked the question. Are you asking the question to me, OTW too? That's Sister Cindy's platform, and I do have a page on there. I have a few videos on there. In fact, I was trying to upload a video today, but other things got in the way. I think I missed it. Oh, Unique One Express. Okay, it said don't plan to watch it. Don't want that negative energy in my space. I understand. I'm not recommending anybody watch it. I don't want anybody to get any more views. And I Allen says when people started worshiping butts, I knew the gay stuff was coming. Why worship a body part? Both genders say. Yeah, I mean, yeah, worshiping in and of itself, and that that's funny because that's the right word because, worship is the right word because we saw how it affected our sisters that for whatever reason, and I just sometimes stuff happens, I just miss it. For whatever reason, it just became a thing with our sisters to try to accentuate that part of their body beyond, way beyond the norm of what anybody actually looks like walking around. But yeah, those things are related, I think. And sister said a lot about people are beyond repair. We have to face this reality. Yeah, to be completely honest, we've had people saying that for decades, and I can't argue with that. It just seems like the most dangerous part is it seems like a higher percentage of each generation goes further down the well of degeneracy, and that's really the main problem because you have to have somebody around to pass the torch to. And Brother Elijah says, I saw the video and it was the most disgusting video I've ever seen. I thought it couldn't be any worse than WAP, but it's interesting how both videos use degeneracy as a way of empowerment. Brother, that is an excellent point. That is an excellent point. And it's funny because I don't think I've seen the whole WAP video, even though I took the instrumental and put that in the lecture. I didn't actually watch the video because I only needed the instrumental to make my point, and that's all I had. And then the other video they had, even though I downloaded that and put that in the lecture before, I never I don't think I ever watched that whole video. And the brother says walking around DC is strange now. Rainbow flags everywhere and Black Lives Matter signs. Absolutely. Okay, so you in the area, so you know. Okay, yeah. If you and this is the thing that people, if you're not from DC, you wouldn't understand. So I had to give a little context. In Washington DC, the city itself, running north through the city is Georgia Avenue, and on Georgia Avenue it runs north to south, but once you pass the north side, it becomes 7th Street, then it becomes Georgia Avenue. And the southern end of Georgia Avenue is where Howard University is, right? And when I was growing up, this area was basically the pro-black conscious area of DC. And it was called Nile Valley because of that. And so off of Georgia Avenue on that end, the whole area was black. Then, now, Howard University is still there. But the entire area around it, all the houses have been bought up by Europeans, and all the Europeans are pro-LGBT. And so where you may have saw red, black, and green flags, where you had the Pharaoh's head up on pyramid books, had the Pharaoh's head up and all that. All of that has been erased and replaced with LGBT, which is symbolic because literally that's what they're doing and that's what they've been trying to do, is replace black power with Black Lives Matter. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Let's see. And Brother Kevin says, in my opinion, the revolutionary black power movement in the 60s and 70s got co-opted by white liberals who influenced black people to give up true race first ideology to empower degeneracy. It wasn't just that, but some of the strongest people were killed, and so and the strongest organizations were dismantled. And so really, if you go back into the 70s, you had, most of the strong organizations, where the Panthers and Republican New Africa and all these organizations came under attack. They started to be broken down. The leaders were locked up. Even the Nation of Islam had their transition. And so there was a dead period from that mid 70s, late 70s to early 80s where it wasn't a lot of strong things happening. But then you begin to have a renaissance in the early 80s. But, it wasn't enough. Being completely honest, because if it was enough, we wouldn't be here. You Got Ripped Off says that I don't think Denver is far off from DC. The basketball team colors is a rainbow. Sex shops around high schools advertising homosexuality, and gay bars / bathhouses. And the governor is a homosexual well, there it is. There it is. And Brother Allen says, if you know DC, yeah, they removed the House of Kim and replaced it with a LGBT organization. Yeah, they did that. That was some years ago. Yeah, I remember that, brother. I remember that well. In fact, I don't know if the brother's listening, but one of the brothers in SBPM, him and another brother, older brother, they were looking for the House of Kemet, and were on the street, and I think we're either headed in the building or headed in that direction, and somebody informed them. They're like, nah, that's not, you don't want to go there, that ain't what you're looking for. He moved down the street or whatever. And then now the brother's out of business. So yeah, nah. So yeah, I know DC. I know I know that Georgia Avenue area by pointing that out. But yeah, so this is, in essence, this Lil Nas X thing is just an outgrowth of the complete and total assault on our children and the removal of manhood and the destruction of anything strong and black. And as somebody mentioned the hats, You Got Ripped Off mentioned the hats. I don't have to say it, but I'll say it anyway. We already understand that anything musically related in that industry is hat related, right? That goes without saying. Yeah, so let me get that off the screen. I'm tired of looking at it. Nobody complained, but I'm sure you all were tired of looking at it as well. Sister Tila Nubia was saying, I'm going back and forth with a sister about this subject. I'm going to post her last response to me and ask, does anyone see a problem with her response? Okay, yeah, go ahead and put that in the chat. And somebody else mentioned something about the sisters. I don't know how, and y'all tell me from y'all interaction, I don't know how sisters are responding to this particular, or at least that particular video. I think that at least I thought, I could be wrong, I thought that was a bridge too far as the video and the Satan shoes and the that whole controversy. And I think, at least I hope, but at least I thought that possibly this was a point where a lot of, especially mothers, would be like, all right, enough's enough. And Lord Bell says, I'm eating. I'm glad you took that sickness off the screen. Brother, why didn't you say something? I took it off earlier, I kind of noticed, I was looking, it's like, man, it looked like the number of people listening has gone down. Maybe I'll take this off and they come back, So if you were listening and you turn it off, you can come back now. I took that off the screen. I just, because I was looking for the Satan Shoes article, but then I was like, I mean, we know about it. We seen it. We don't need it. I mean, I think we're all abreast of, that's not the word I want to use. You understand? We're all aware of what's going on to a degree. But yeah, the main reason I wanted to bring that up, because I did not think that I thought people missed the children angle and the children's book and being at schools and other people co-signing it, like the original Nas. And I couldn't find it, but I saw a picture of, I thought it was at the Grammys, but maybe it wasn't. A picture of Lil Nas X and Nasir Jones shaking hands when Nas won his Grammy. So it's funny too. Yeah, I'm going to admit this. For a long time, but not currently, Nasir Jones was my second favorite rapper. My favorite rapper has always been Rakim. So if you have any bad news to talk to me about Rakim, just don't, please. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. But we really have to get, one thing we have to do, God, they're attacking our children so many ways. We really have to understand that now the attack is on our children. In the 70s and the 80s, they attacked the men. In the 80s and the 90s, they attacked the women. And now we are here to attack our children. And our wonderful producer says, give me the child for the first 7 years and I'll give you the man. Jesuit maxim. Yeah, no, that's real. I mean, that says it all. That says it all. And we're in a time now where the psychological warfare enters your home or enters the school, because the child takes the psychological warfare with them, with their phone everywhere they go. And they, of course, they don't understand it, because most of the parents don't understand it. I'm sure there are very few parents who have connected the dots between Old Town Country Road and Montero, and seeing both videos and realizing, oh, wait a minute, it's the same person. And I'm sure very few people read the article where he says, I want to target children, and people who are writing the articles about him co-signing it and say, yeah, that's cool, yeah, do whatever you want. No, it's not do whatever you want when children are involved. No. That's the incorrect answer. Because if you do whatever you want with children involved, that is literally opening the door for pedophilia. Because if you ask a pedophile, what does he want? What the pedophile wants is to molest children. Ancient Greek philosophy was their highest and noblest aspiration. That's the foundation of European culture. Every European will tell you that. So he's symbolic of the evil that is being presented to our children. And we are the last line of defense, the last wall between the satanic forces and child abusers, which is the same thing, and our children. And through him, they're letting us know what they're going to do, and they don't think that we're going to do anything about it. And when I do the video later in the week talking about the homophile that kidnapped the little boy and raped him and shot him in the face, I'll talk about how that's not a one-off like it appears. There were similar incidents taking place here in Washington, D.C. a couple of years ago. And I missed something, but Brother Allen says it's definitely problematic. The evil gets stronger not by evil people, but by good people who stand by and do nothing about it. Exactly. And the sister says many sisters are okay. Many sisters are okay with it. That is disappointing, to say the least. And Unique One Express says many are extremely conditioned with so much dysfunction they think that it's perfectly fine. And Brother Elijah says, in times like these, it's important to raise strong children than to repair broken men. Thanks to SBPM for fighting to save our children. And Brother Kevin says the levels of indoctrination is real. They get the children through song and dance, and then get them intellectually through the books. Right. And he's a one-man stop and shop for all of that. And Taylor Nubi says Nas co-signed Lil Nas X. They did a collaboration together at one of their award shows. This was Nas coming out ceremony. Yeah, I saw. Well, I didn't know that he did the remix for Old Town. I literally just found that out this week, that he did the remix for Old Town Country Road. And our wonderful producer says there was a 5-year-old at my granddad's house last night saying he kissed God and God's wife. His mama loved dropping him off at anybody's house. And we were like, no, boy, you a boy. You ain't nobody's wife. Wow. All I can say is then you already know what's going on there. We already know. We don't even have to get into it. Brother Desaline says this sister told me the other day that it's just musical expression. She saw nothing wrong with the video. Obviously, she saw nothing wrong with it, and you went off. Man, we make so many excuses to excuse evil. Like, we're not, for the most part here, we're not religious people. If we see a problem with it, people who still believe in Christianity to some degree or religious to some degree should be more offended on the face of it, on the surface of it, than we are. We're offended because it's just repulsive, but it's completely against the principles that we believe in. I mean, it's just repugnant. I mean, being completely honest, as much as I like women, it would have been repugnant if it was a woman gyrating on Satan. And then it was disrespectful that you got the devil looking, I mean, literally as quote unquote Negroid looking features as you could find in Hollywood. It was obviously a black man portraying Satan. I ain't forgot about that part. As if we haven't been demonized enough. You couldn't even make the devil European. So we have to, we just have to assume that the hats are behind this. And I think I saw an article that said that that he didn't sign. I maybe said this before, but that he didn't sign his major deal till after Old Town Road blew up. Then he signed a major deal, and so all of this is coming with the major deal. And I need to find it, the article, so I can figure out exactly what company it was that he signed with, and then we can look and see who's behind the curtain. Because again, he's 21 years old. So no one that, you can't convince me that all of this is his idea. And at the least, they're empowering him to do so and giving him the platform to do so and giving him the money to make the videos. Because some money went to that video because there was CGI and all types of stuff happening. That wasn't a budget video. And Cindy says it'd be the Bible thumpers not paying attention or so indoctrinated in their beliefs. I don't know how you Bible thumping and missed this one, but hey, things happen. And Desaline says these weird dudes tell women they always right just to get in their pants. Many sisters don't listen to us because of it. Brother, I ain't think about that, but that makes perfect sense. Lord Vale says, yeah, a lot of people my age and younger are cool with Lil X, but there's a small percentage of people I know personally that can't stand him. And you got ripped off, says the rap Liberace. That means he's taking the title from what was the guy that was in Goody Mob? Because he was looking real Liberace-ish when he was singing Crazy. Even though, I like the song, but the dude was dressing like, he was looking like the rap Liberace. But I guess he's too old now, so it's time for new blood, so to speak. I guess in this case with him in the shoes, actual blood. And our wonderful producer says the Wizard of Oz is a real thing. Right behind the curtain is something nefarious. Small hat. I just put the small hat part in for you. Because we know who it is. We know it's a hat. I just didn't do the research to see who the hat is. Brother Kevin says CeeLo. Right, CeeLo. Yeah. Yeah, y'all remember CeeLo looking real crazy. And it's funny because he had one of the freestyles that really, one of the best freestyles I heard, breaking down like white supremacy in Urugu. And then next thing I know, he wearing a dress or whatever was happening there. So they got to him too. Because you can't tell me, wait a minute, he's from Atlanta. Never mind. Just disregard what I was about to say. He's from Atlanta. Atlanta is the Mecca. It's a homophile Mecca. It's a homophile black Mecca. And it may be the homophile Mecca of America at this point. Like, the times I've been to Atlanta, I'm just like straight to Baba Baruti in their event. I ain't messing around with nothing else. And Lord, yeah, wow, this is an interesting question. Let me read this. Lord Vale says, what happened to those women from back in the day who wanted to ban gangster rap and 2 Live Crew? I think people are weak now these days. Just saying. That is, that is so interesting that you said that. Because at that time, those were older, for the most part, from what I remember, those were older sisters. And so those older sisters are elderly now, probably having no idea, what's going on. And no one has picked up the mantle to challenge the things that are going on now. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes a generation doesn't pass things on and just fumble the ball. And brother, you got ripped off, said, I hate that Jenny used that freestyle in some of his lectures. Now, if someone sees it and doesn't know who CeeLo is, they look him up. I ain't even think about that, brother. I ain't think about that at all. And Sister Nubia says, you have people saying that people are upset because the heathen is gay. Let me say I don't want to see a man and woman getting down. I mean, and I said it before, I say it again. I don't want to see that imagery of a woman gyrating on Satan. I don't want to see. I still haven't even seen whatever was going on at, I think it was at the Grammys, with Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. I still haven't watched that. I just heard about it. I don't even know how egregious it was, because it seemed like these things happened back to back. And this thing took over the internet, so I never even got to their point. Our wonderful producer says, see Dolores Tucker passed. The politicians turned their back on her gangster rap crusade. We had a show where her family spoke on the Wake Up Radio on the Super Sly 75 show. Okay. Yeah, I figured she had passed. And, so, I mean, it's one of the things, one of the hardest things to do in the black community, period, and short of a church organization, is to pass the mantle and have people pick up the mantle and carry it forward. And continue to do the work regardless of what it is, especially if it's something positive. It's just because there's no economic benefit in it. And that's the whole thing. There's no economic benefit to doing the right thing in a capitalist society bent on the wrong thing. Right? So the support from the people is what allows the people who want to resist whatever the agenda may be. And if otherwise, then no one will be able to resist it long, or won't be able to resist it effectively. Let's see, Lord Bell said there's some people with big platforms that spoke out, like Erica Lachey. I like that sister. I like her energy. I like, she takes some strong stances against there's certain things. I saw her on Twitter, and she tries to help diffuse the gender war that wages on Twitter every single day. I mean, I don't think I follow that many people on Twitter. I'm building up a following on Twitter again, which is interesting because I don't tweet that much. Not to the point I was before they shut down my account before. But yeah, I can see the gender war, but I kind of try to mute that stuff. Just, I don't see it. I mean, it makes me tired thinking about it. And the sister said it's good to know who's behind the curtain, but it's more important for a person to know there's a problem. Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you look at that and you don't have a visceral reaction, I'm not sure really what we can do for you, especially if you have children. It's just, I don't know. Lord Bell said, you got to meet Erica Lachey? Oh, okay, cool. That's cool. He said she's short but cool and truthful. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with short sister, Depends on what you like. We ain't gonna talk about what people like. That's a different show. And our wonderful producer says, follow me on OTWTube. /OTWTube.com/user/DC Radical 1. And she also put the Cash App in here and let me run through the links where you can contact me when it rolls back around, and it's on the bottom of your screen. But you can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, on Twitter at DC_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical 1. And of course, this is the YouTube page, DC, capital D, small c, Radical, the number 1. And the email is dc.radical_1 at protonmail.com. And our wonderful producer gave you the OTW Tube link. And hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to simulcast to OTW Tube at the same time we're on YouTube, for however long we're on YouTube. I have a feeling that if, I think right now, because of what's going on, as long as you don't mention shots, and I'm not talking about jump shots, y'all know what type of shots I'm talking about. I think right now that's the only people that completely censoring, although I'm sure you can't just say hats too many times and blame them for too many things before you start getting mysterious copyright strikes. So, but I'm not worried about that right now. But reminder, let me make sure. I am pretty sure, not 100%, but I'll put it on Instagram. I may even, if I had the ability, I'll send it out through the Eventbrite. But I'm pretty sure the jab, and indeed, in fact, we have a dab to jab movement. If you're part of our Straight Black Pride email list, then you've seen that. I'm pretty sure, and y'all tell me what's better, day or evening. Pretty sure this weekend we're gonna go ahead and do, if y'all still interested, and y'all let me know in the comments, we're gonna go ahead and do the Goddess Black Woman rewatch party, and then I'm gonna take it down to be edited after that. So if this week, this Saturday or Friday night, y'all tell me Friday night or Saturday, and y'all tell me Saturday afternoon or evening. I don't currently have anything planned, but I think Friday night is actually easier for me, but Saturday is cool too. It kind of, I'm good with whatever y'all good with, because I can work around it. If people are still interested, and if people aren't interested, then I won't do it, and we all have more free time, and hopefully it'll be warmer and we can do whatever we want. So I'll wait for you all to comment about that. Sister T. Lanubia says that the gender war is everywhere. That's why you cut back on social media. Yeah, I don't see it as much on Instagram, to be honest, but it's probably dependent upon who you follow. Twitter, like I said, it's just terrible. YouTube, it's bad. It's not as bad as it was, but it's pretty bad. But Twitter just seems to be, and it's weird because I guess it's not weird. Never mind, it's not weird, because I started to say it's weird because of younger people, but actually, of course, it's younger people, because each generation you get further and further away from having a family, and so you get further and further away from that connection with black people, and then you get more susceptible to this toxic environment. So that speaks for itself. Unique One Express says Saturday afternoon seems okay. Okay, cool. That means Unique One Express wants to she got a hot date Saturday night. I understand. It is Straight Black Pride. And who hasn't seen the Death and Rebirth of Goddess Black Woman lecture that's currently here? If you haven't seen it, just let me know, because everyone that's paid still has a link. So I'll make the link active, and we'll just do it like that. Now fast forward past the filler, and just start with the actual lecture, because it is long. And I don't know, depending on how it goes, I might just do first half one week, second half the next week. Depends on how things go, because I still haven't watched it all the way through, which of course is why it hasn't been edited. It took me a long time to be able to Lord Bell, you haven't seen it? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, brother, you got ripped off. Yeah. Before that, man, he did mention that. Yeah, Lord Bell, everybody paid, so I would make an exception, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, but I will probably, you drop that 20 in the bucket, I definitely send you the link, and once it's edited, I will probably, the people who are most loyal to the show and follow me on social media and stuff, some of you all will definitely just be able to, as long as we can work around, because I told y'all we had that weird camera thing happening. As long as we can work around that, then we'll make that available. Our wonderful producer says where she's from in Grenada, we say jab jab, which means devil devil when we dance in oil and mud and fling powder and wear chains and breathe fire during carnival. Been saying it for centuries. Wow, I don't even know what to do with that. It's just gonna take me a minute to process that. I'm not even sure what's happening with that. That, all I can say is, wow, that's interesting. That's literally all I have. I don't know what to do with that one. That is obviously, I'm sure there's some deep, something deep behind that, but it's just like, wow, okay. And Alan says I haven't seen it. So yeah, Cindy put the Cash App. It was $20, and just make sure that you say for the lecture. So when you say for the lecture, and send me, I'll need your email. So if you follow me on Instagram, DM me your email. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram. Or even better, now that I think about it, it makes more sense. Even better, because my Instagram DMs be flooded. Send me an email to my email list at dc.radical_1@protonmail.com. And when you send the money, send the email, say, hey, I sent you the money for the lecture. I'll send you the link. The sister says either day is good for her. And Desaline more than paid. He done paid for everything. So, brother Desaline, if you want to, you can have a whole watch party for your people up there. And I gotta get up there. I'm gonna try to get up there for my birthday, because you be making it look live, and I be feeling left out, to be honest. You be having a good old time up there. So definitely need to come up there and maybe with a few brothers and sisters and hang out with you for a day or two. Support the brother that supports us so much. But brothers and sisters, oh brother, no problem, no, thank you. And I say that with all sincerity. But if y'all don't have any, okay, you just sent the money. Yes, yeah, brother. I don't know if you heard me. I said send me an email stating that you sent the money. Send my email, or send the email to, send the email to dc.radical_1@protonmail.com. It's going along the bottom here. Oh, you got ripped off. Says, do I have a premium Proton? Yeah, my Proton Mail account is premium. It's if you're looking for secure email, yeah, I recommend them. You can encrypt everything, and you have the option for end-to-end encryption, and then you have to get the code to a person for them to be able to decrypt it on the other end. Yeah, so they're solid if that's what you're looking for, brother. Yeah, indeed. not, that's what I use. Not to give them a free commercial, but it is what it is. So with that, brothers and sisters, I am going to get off here, make me something to eat. Thank you all again for listening. Thank you all for supporting. Thank you all for the donations, supporting the lecture, spreading the videos. Don't forget to hit, I don't know if people have, if you haven't, hit the like button, share, subscribe, tell your friends, get them to share and subscribe, and we're going to continue to build this thing. And in that day when inevitably they shut us down here, we'll just go over to OTW Tube and continue to do what. Okay, hold up, brother. Can somebody put the link? Put the email address in the chat again for the brother. Brother Patrick. Oh, Brother Patrick got a question. Hold on. Says, does anyone find it strange that the prosecutors in the George Floyd case have not brought up race in a case that was racially motivated? Brother, I haven't watched one instant of that case. And the reason I haven't watched one instant of that case, to be completely honest, is because I have no expectations of any real justice. So I don't know what anyone else has, I don't know what anyone else's thoughts on that are. But yeah, that's why you haven't even heard me speak about it. I thought about making a video about it, but I was like, we've been down this road before. Like, do we really? And I'll say this real quick. From my perspective, and people may think differently, may disagree, and that's fine. From my perspective, when you reach a certain understanding of who the European is, then you don't expect him to do anything just or right. It doesn't mean they won't have they won't do it in order to avert something that they don't want to happen, or they won't do it because it benefits them, or they won't do it just to lay the groundwork for them to retract what they did. You know what I'm saying? And hit you with something else different after you relax and say, oh, well, they helped us with XYZ. Doesn't mean any of those things. I'm just saying in these cases and in this instance, even with as much pressure as I think is in this case, I just don't expect anything positive to happen. So you pointing that out, I'm not surprised at that at all in any way, shape, or form, because they don't have our best interests at heart. So I'm not even surprised by that. And I had just told people, because I knew the case was going on, but when I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about it and getting upset and things like that, I'm like, I guess it's different. You grow up, in essence, at least during your teenage years, hearing that, from the nation's ideology of the white man is the devil. You kind of just incorporate that into your psyche, and then you never expect anything positive. You accept it if it occurs, but you never expect it. That's how I see that. So if that guy gets some type of major conviction and spends the rest of his life in jail, or happens to fall off the top tier balcony and meet his maker, I'll be grateful, but I'm not waiting for it either. But if some brother happens to give him the Jeffrey Dahmer treatment, I will try to find out how we can put something on his commissary. I'll tell you that much. But I'm sure he'll be in secure facility where he can't get the Jeffrey Dahmer fate. But we shall see how that works out. So with that, brothers and sisters, thank you all for being with me for 2 shows, back to back, 2 shows in less than 24 hours. And we, again, with this whole thing, they're coming directly after our children, excuse me, and they're using one of our own to do it. One of our own people who's still young himself, barely old enough to drink. And so, again, we got work to do, as usual. So with that, brothers and sisters, I appreciate you all. And I'll end with a BB for Hodie and straight black pride.